Welcome back. You are watching The Core, and we're talking about election preparedness by parties as we come very close to these elections, which are taking place in about 10 days' time. Now, you can join the conversation on our social media handles, Twitter at Channels TV or at Kadria Ahmed, YouTube at Channels Web using the hashtag NGTheCore. You can also follow us on Facebook at Channels Forum. Now, Mr. Emmanuel Osi, before the break, we started looking at some of the challenges facing different parties, what I would consider the non-mainstream parties, from financing to issues of ability to deploy logistics. What, in your view, are the most significant issues that are facing parties such as yours in the run-up to these elections?
I think we've sort of mentioned a few of them in our earlier conversations. From the party perspective, I think it's the expectation first is that we want the electoral body, INEC, to conduct a very transparent election, very unbiased. I feel it's
what constitutes an unbiased elections, in your view?
Making sure the process is transparent across the board. And I don't think it's just, again, many times people have pointed fingers at INEC, but I think that collectively we're meant to work together, the parties, INEC, we're all stakeholders in it, to ensure that we have a transparent election. Number one, the responsibility of INEC is to ensure that they are prepared, fully prepared. And we hope and pray that they're prepared. The logistics is a huge task. It's a huge task where you have 75 or 73 presidential candidates. It's huge across the board, 120,000 polling units. We pray that they are fully prepared for that. The political parties, the expectations are that they should try and maintain a very calm disposition so that they don't heat up the polity already. I think we hold the nation a responsibility not to create those kind of problems. Security agencies have a responsibility to keep and ensure that they are very, very transparent in their conduct over the elections. The Nigerian people must understand that you can only have a credible election if you have a peaceful environment.
Yeah, and I think all of us here probably agree that this is the ideal. So the issue is, are you all here satisfied that all of these things that have been listed seem to be, are you confident in based on the evidence you've seen so far, that we're on the right track?
Again, like I'm saying, it's all of us working together to get this right. It's all of us working together. We won't say now that, you know, what we're seeing on the table is what it is. Every incumbent government have always tried to, you know, influence the security agencies in that. And we're saying those are the areas we're saying that the Nigerian people should be more vigilant. And that's what we're doing in our party to ensure that every member that we have around the polling booths are vigilant enough to protect their votes. It's not a time where you go to the polls and you leave the polls. You stay through till the end of the polls. Right.
Are you completely happy, Mr. Umoru?
No, there are danger signals all over the place. For instance, I will just give you a few. If you look at ideally, every polling unit should not contain more than 500 registered voters. But we have polling units that have over 2,000 registered voters.
So just from a practical point of view...
The delay in the process, which this necessarily means, is that some people are going to get frustrated. And the likelihood of fracas is there. Every effort should be made to ensure that the number, even within polling units, the election management body should break up, should create additional units.
Okay, we're very lucky that we've actually got INEC in the studio with us. They were decent enough to send one of their directors. And Sam, maybe when you have the mic, you can fully introduce yourself. But maybe to find out from you, these polling units that are, if you like, oversubscribed, what are the plans for them? Are you going into elections with them that way? Or are you planning to create other polling units to take the spillover away from the units that are saturated?
Thank you. My name is Oluwole Osazeuzi. I'm the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC. Regrettably, we have actually created voting points. The creation of polling units has turned out to be a very controversial, unnecessarily controversial issue in the Nigerian politics. So as a stopgap measure to the actual creation and review of polling units, we've now created about 57,000 odd voting points. And that is to take the pressure off polling units that have such large populations, so that it's such that if there are much more than 500 people, if over 1,000 people, will break that polling unit into two, the polling unit and a voting point. But for all intents and purposes, it is one polling unit. Only one result will arise from there. There's what we call the...
At which point does the break happen? Is it when people show up and you realize the numbers are huge? Because I would have thought by now... Oh, it's been done. Okay, it has been done.
Has been demonstrated to all the political parties. We've had stakeholders engagement with political parties. That has been shown to them. Okay. And when we did release the register of voters, that was explained and the breakdown was given to them. Tomorrow is the expanded stakeholders meeting for the issues surrounding this will be explained to the all stakeholders.
Thank you very much. I'll take a few comments and questions from the audience.
I have a question for him.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
This new polling voting point, are we going to have agents of parties representing the party's interest in those voting points?
Yes, I believe that. I believe so. But there's always, the law says every polling unit, an agent of the political party that wishes to have an agent can have one there. And 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks to the elections, you give us a list of all your agents. So every point that we're going to vote, party agent will be there, yes.
So, Mr. Murray, does that sort of give you a bit of comfort and confidence?
It does give some confidence. But there are many other issues. For instance, there is the incidence of a large number of uncollected PVCs. Our experience in the past is that these uncollected PVCs find their ways into the hands of some politicians.
Why has it been difficult for people?
That would be correct, because if such large numbers are found their way to the politicians, then we will still not have millions of PVCs still uncollected in our offices.
No, let's not do semantics here, please. The question is straightforward.
Yes.
He is saying that as things exist, there are people who go to collect their PVCs and are not able to. And even on Twitter today, I had a number of people tweeting and complaining that they've gone again and again, and they're told either the PVC is not available, and yet you keep announcing that there are thousands. Why is the collection not as efficient as it should be?
Well, the issue you have now raised was not the question, not the issue he raised. So it's more than semantics, but to differ. Now, there are millions there uncollected. Yes, there are some complaints of certain people who cannot locate their PVCs. One or two reasons. Either it was misplaced or, for whatever reasons, was not printed. We have a schedule of printing, and all those who have not found theirs, the record is taken of it, and we'll try to locate them. When they cannot be located, they will be reprinted before the conclusion of the time for collection.
If you're not able to find them, will they be able to vote?
The law says you must have your PVC and you must come with your PVC.
So these people will be disenfranchised, essentially.
We are doing all we can to address all issues so that everybody who has registered, who has a temporary card, will get their PVC.
Okay,
if it can't be located now, it will be reprinted for them.
Before we leave the issue of PVC, very quickly, in Abia, for example, where we had the fire, what is going to be the situation for people whose PVCs got caught up in that incident?
They'll be reprinted, replaced.
They'll be before the elections?
Before the cut-off time for collection, yes.
Friday is the last date.
Yeah, and there's no chance that because of the sheer number of PVCs that are left uncollected, you will shift or move the date of the polls?
No. There's no consideration of shift of polls. It evinces the unwillingness of some of the people to collect those things. Some of these cards have been there for better part of 5, 6, 7 years, not just this exercise, but right from those who registered in 2010 and 2011.
Okay. We will take a few questions from, yes, the lady in black, and then the gentleman in white behind, then in blue. We'll do like 4, and then we'll come back to the panel. Yes, ma'am.
All right, good evening. My name is Abani Blessing, and I would like to know what the parties are doing to ensure that these people, their party members and everybody get voters' education. We have talked about vigilance in the election. We've talked about the party agents. What are you doing that these people that are coming to vote actually have the right information and vote right in order to ensure that invalid votes are not
we don't have a lot
of them, because the issue is because they don't have the right voters' education. So while we're trying to mobilize people, what are the parties doing to ensure that these people they actually mobilize and get the correct voters' education to ensure that they vote and vote right?
Thank you. Thank you very much. The gentleman behind her in white. Yeah.
Right.
We'll come back to you, sir.
My name is Amir Lukman Haruna. I'm a development advocate. I have a question for you, the unpopular party. I don't want to call it a small party. My question is that you've complained about logistics, the cost of the money it costs to get party agents and other things that you need to do. So, in your own opinion, what do you think we can do to take away that? Because I know it's not possible. Nowhere in the world that you can contest for a president without you having some cash to put into. So, you complaining about it means that is it wrong to put the money in, or do you think it can work without the money? So we need to know about this. And again, one important thing, you're okay.
There's quite a lot of people wanting to talk. So, sir, yes, very quickly.
Oh, thank you. My name is Gunsa Godwin Bamidele. I am a volunteer worker with the IDP camp. I focus on marginalized community. I want to make a quick comment. I think one of the problems we're going to have in this election is what my sister just emphasized, is the issue of voters' education. The voters are not educated enough to cast their vote.
What are the issues that you've seen?
Now, I've seen on the ground where I work. Now, I've seen cases of physically challenged persons that don't know that during the election, aid will be given to them because of their condition. I asked someone somewhere in Oron, in Akwa Ibom State, that I met, I had to encourage to go and register to vote, so that he can cast his vote. He's physically challenged, and he didn't know that being physically challenged, aid will be given to him on the day of the election so that he can be able to cast his vote. I have cases in the IDP camp where I volunteer to work of IDPs that don't even see themselves as citizens of these countries again. In fact, they don't even count themselves as part of it. I have to start mobilizing, them to go and register to vote. I was able to get over 2,000 of them to register to vote. And I have also cases on the field where you see people going to register to vote just because of the missed collecting money in previous election. And so they said in 2019, I will not miss the money this time around. I must get my PVC so I can also get the cash. They don't know that going to vote is not about going to collect money. It's not about selling your right. They don't even understand the power and the use of the PVC. So I think the major challenge of this election is voters' education.
Okay, we will discuss all of the issues raised by the audience after this quick break. Don't go away.